The boy wasn't whispering anymore. He was screaming, "He's got me! Please!" I reached for the button to end the call, and then a man's voice whispered in my ear, "He sees you." My boss gave me one rule as a 911 dispatcher. If a call comes from the old house on the county line, you let it ring. Last night I answered. I've been a 911 dispatcher for 12 years, the last 7 on the graveyard shift. You think you've heard it all after that long. The drunks, the domestics, the panicked fumbling for words after a car crash. It all becomes a kind of white noise, a rhythm of human misery you learn to navigate without letting it touch you. You have to. It's the only way to stay sane. My district is a sprawling, sleepy county that dies after 10 p.m. It's mostly soccer moms and retirees. The worst we usually get on a weeknight is a noise complaint or a teenager who's had too much to drink at a bonfire. The job, for me, had become a cycle of caffeine, fluorescent lights, and the low, constant hum of computer servers. I was burned out. Deeply, existentially tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. The calls were just blips on a screen, voices to be processed, categorized, and dispatched. I was a human switchboard for other people's worst days. The first call came on a Tuesday, about 3 months ago. It was 2:47 a.m., the deadest hour of the deadest night. The line lit up on my console, but not in the usual way. It wasn't a cell call with a GPS ping, or a landline with a registered address. It was just a raw signal, designated as unregistered VoIP. Not unheard of, but rare. I clicked it open. 911, what is your emergency? Static. A thick, wet sound, like listening to the radio underwater. It crackled and popped, and underneath it, I could just barely make out a sound. A whisper. Hello? Can you hear me? It was a child's voice. A boy, I thought. Maybe 7 or 8. He sounded like he was trying to talk without moving his lips. This is 911. I repeated, my voice a little louder, a little clearer. I can barely hear you. What is your emergency? The static swelled, almost swallowing his voice whole. He's back. The man in the mask is back. A chill, cold and sharp, went down my spine. It was a professional chill, the one that tells you this is real. This isn't a prank. Okay, son. Where are you? I need an address. Hurting mommy? The whisper came again, breaking with a sob. The static sounded like a swarm of angry insects now. Daddy's asleep on the floor. He won't wake up. Son, I need you to tell me where you are. I can't send help if I don't know where you are. My fingers were flying across the keyboard, trying to get a trace, but the system was kicking back errors. No location data. No subscriber info. Nothing. The old house, he whispered, his voice fading. At the end of the road, please. Then the line went dead. Not a click, not a hang-up. It just ceased to exist. One moment it was there, a line of static and terror, and the next it was just a dead channel. Even without an address, the old house at the end of the road was enough. Out on the western edge of the county, there's a long, unpaved road that just sort of peters out into the woods. And at the end of it, there's one house. A big, derelict Victorian thing that's been empty for as long as anyone can remember. It was a local legend, the kind of place kids dared each other to spend a night in. I dispatched a patrol car. My senior officer, a guy who's been on the force since before I was born, came back over the radio about 15 minutes later. His voice was flat, laced with the kind of annoyance reserved for rookies and time wasters. Dispatch, car 12 here. The property is secure. No signs of forced entry. Place is boarded up tighter than a drum. There's nobody here. Hasn't been for 50 years by the looks of it. 10 to 4, car 12, I said, my own voice betraying none of my confusion. "Are you sure?" The caller was a child. He said his family was being attacked. There was a sigh over the radio. "Listen, the dust on the porch is an inch thick. The boards on the windows are gray and rotted. If someone's in there, they're a ghost. We're clearing the call. Tell whoever's playing games to knock it off." I logged it as unfounded and tried to put it out of my mind. A prank. A sophisticated one, maybe, using some kind of voice changer and a voice spoofer. Kids these days. I was too tired to care. A week later, at 2:47 a.m., the same line lit up. The same static. The same terrified, whispering voice. "He's in the house. I can hear him walking." This time, I felt a knot of ice form in my stomach. "Son, is this the same caller from last week?" A choked sob. "He has the mask on. The one with the scary smile." Mommy's screaming. Faintly, through the storm of static, I thought I could hear it. A woman's scream, high and thin and distorted, like a sound being played backwards. "I'm sending help," I said, my voice tight. "Stay on the line with me." "Can you hide?" "In the closet," he whispered. "He's coming up the stairs. I can hear his feet." The line went dead. I dispatched 2 cars this time. I told them it was a repeat call, possibly a hostage situation. I didn't want them to be complacent. They took it seriously. They set up a perimeter. They used a bullhorn. They broke down the front door. The result was the same. An empty house. Thick, undisturbed layers of dust on every surface. Rotted floorboards, peeling wallpaper, the smell of decay and forgotten things. No footprints. No child. No man in a mask. No sign that a human being had set foot in that house in decades. My supervisor pulled me aside the next morning. He's a large, patient man who has the wearied look of someone who's seen it all twice. He told me to drop it. "It's a glitch," he said, not meeting my eye. "Some kind of cross-chatter from another jurisdiction, or a recurring electronic echo. Don't waste county resources on it. If that call comes in again, log it and move on." But I couldn't. The boy's voice, it was too real. The terror in it was primal. The calls kept coming. Every Tuesday, like clockwork. 2:47 a.m. "He's hurting Daddy now. There's so much red. Mommy stopped screaming. He's looking for me. I can hear him opening doors." Every time, I sent a car. Every time, the result was the same. The cops got angrier. I was the boy who cried wolf. My supervisor gave me a formal warning. My colleagues started looking at me funny. I became obsessed. During the day, instead of sleeping, I went to the county records office. I needed to know who owned that house. Finally, I found it. The last family to actually live there. A deed from 1968. A nice, happy family with a mom, a dad, and 2 kids. A boy and a girl. And then I found it. An article from a cold, late autumn day in 1975. Local family slain in apparent home invasion. A husband, a wife, and their 10-year-old daughter found dead in their home. But the last paragraph was what made me stop breathing. The family's 8-year-old son remains missing. The man in the mask. The closet. It wasn't a prank. The next day at work, I told my supervisor and one of the oldest dispatchers everything. They didn't think I was insane. "So it started again," she said. He told me about the dispatcher before me, the man who sat at my console. He got the same calls. He disappeared. "He drove out to the house," my supervisor said. "His car was found the next morning. He was gone." For the next few weeks, I was a ghost myself. I did my job on autopilot. Every sound, Every flicker on the screen made me jump. I dreaded Tuesday nights. I drank so much coffee, I could feel my heart rattling in my chest, just to stay sharp, to stay vigilant. I thought about quitting. I thought about just walking out and never coming back. But where would I go? Then, last night, it happened. It was 2:45 a.m. I was staring at the clock, my knuckles white from gripping the edge of my desk. The minutes ticked by like hours. 2:46. My mouth was dry. My heart was a drum solo in my ears. 2:47. The line lit up. The unregistered VoIP. It felt like a physical blow. I flinched back in my chair. My training, my instincts, every fiber of my being screamed at me to answer it. There was a child in trouble. That was the job. But I remembered the pale, haunted face of my supervisor. The story of the man who had vanished. You terminate the call. I let it ring. Once. Twice. The flashing light on the console seemed to sear my retinas. My hand hovered over the button, trembling. I couldn't just ignore it. I had to answer. I had to. I clicked the button. 911, what is your... The static was a roar, louder than it had ever been. It was a physical presence in my ear, a wall of noise. And through it, the boy's voice came, not whispering this time, but screaming. It was a raw, ragged sound of pure agony and terror. "He's got me! He's got me, please! He's taking me! Please, sir, don't let him take me! Help me!" The sound ripped through my professional detachment and tore right into my soul. This was it. The climax. The moment the boy was taken, replaying for all eternity. My hand flew to the keyboard to dispatch a car, a purely reflexive action born of years of training. But I stopped. My fingers froze over the keys. He's gone. This already happened. It's not real. The boy was sobbing now, his screams turning into choked, gasping pleas. "Please, you promised. You said you'd send help. Don't leave me." I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I was a 911 dispatcher. My job was to send help. And I was going to sit here and listen to a child be abducted or murdered and do nothing. "I'm sorry," I whispered, my voice thick. "I'm so sorry." I reached for the terminate button on my screen. My finger was a millimeter from the glass. This was it. I was choosing to save myself. I was choosing to let him go. And then the screaming stopped. It wasn't a fade out. It was an abrupt cut, as if a switch had been flipped. The roar of the static dropped to a low, sinister hum. The line was still open. Silence. My heart was in my throat. Did I do it? Then a new sound came through the headset. It wasn't the boy. It was a man's voice. A whisper, just as terrified as the child's had been, but older, hoarser. It was distorted by the same underwater static, the same swarm of electronic insects. It was a voice trying to push its way through an impossible distance, through time itself. And it was a voice I felt, deep in my bones. I should have recognized from an old staff photo in the hallway. The whisper was faint, but utterly, terrifyingly clear. "He's here." I froze, my finger hovering over the screen. The voice was ragged, desperate, broken. "He sees you. Through the line. He's looking right at you." A cold dread, so absolute and profound it felt like death itself, washed over me. I slowly, involuntarily, looked up from my console, across the darkened dispatch center, towards the plate glass windows that looked out into the night. There was nothing there but the reflection of my own terrified face in the glass, my skin pale in the glow of the monitors. The whispering in my ear continued, a final, chilling plea from a place beyond hope. "Please, get me out of here. If you've made it this far into the story, you are true heroes." Face screaming in fierce sparkles. What happened tonight at the dispatch center And the voice we heard, it's just a glimpse of the kind of fear that surrounds us every day, even if we can't see it. This story let us live through every moment of terror and curiosity with every passing second. And we can't forget the echo of that voice or the way our hearts were pounding. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends who love horror and suspense. Smiling face with horn's eyes. And if you want us to bring you even more terrifying and thrilling stories every week, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a single mysterious whisper or haunting sound. We promise you, every new story will be even more exciting and chilling than the last. Skull. And until we meet again in the next story, stay prepared, because the shadows are always watching, even while you watch the screen. We say goodbye for now, but the fear never ends. Face without mouth fog. Stay with us, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that like. Ghost Red Heart.